Hey, what's up, guys? This is Adam from Rescue Michigan, and in this video, we're going to take a look at an interesting news story that popped up this week and maybe discuss its implications just a little bit. So here we go. This is from the Detroit Free Press, although it's all over the media in Michigan. A state representative, Steve Marino, has been stripped of his committee assignments and is under investigation because a Democrat representative who apparently he was dating now claims that he committed some kind of domestic abuse. Now, this is a little strange because they broke up apparently a year ago, according to the story, and it's weird that the allegations would only come out now, but let's see what they're saying here. So, Steve Marino from Macomb County, Mari Manoogian is from Oakland County, and the House Speaker, Jason Wentworth, immediately stripped Steve Marino of his legislative duties, according to Wentworth's office. And the quote here is, "I will always prioritize the safety of state legislators and those who are serving their community at the state capitol." Although that would also be Steve Marino. Although, by the way, I am not defending Steve Marino for 1 second here. He is a quintessential politician in the worst sense of the word. And Exhibit A, he dated Mari Manoogian, but I mean, that just reflects on his judgment right there. But nevertheless, having been accused of some sort of criminal misconduct, I'm not sure that this quite rises to that. There's one thing you don't see anywhere in the story, and that is Manoogian saying what exactly he said or did that constitutes domestic abuse. In fact, we've got this statement here. I'm going to come back to Wentworth in a moment here, but we've got this statement issued Wednesday on Twitter. Manoogian said she's one of the many in Michigan to experience domestic abuse, and she's asking for privacy. The unfortunate reality is that many people in our society have experienced domestic abuse, which often comes from someone we would never expect. None of us are immune to a volatile relationship regardless of our career. It can happen right here in our legislature, where abuse of power and threats can ruin a colleague's reputation, as well as threats of public shaming can be used to intimidate fellow members of the legislature. I'm asking for privacy as I take steps to ensure my safety while I continue to represent my district and do the work of the people. And Wentworth actually says here, he is honoring Rep. Manoogian's request for privacy while others look into the allegations. In the meantime, Steve Marino has lost his committee assignments. Let me make this first point here. Mari Manoogian is not entitled to privacy. She is a public official waging allegations against another public official. And there's a concept in law, and lawyers understand this. You don't get to hide behind privilege over something that you put into issue. And as an example, if you're in a trial and the prosecuting attorney asks the defendant on the stand, "What did you talk to your lawyer about?" The defense lawyer is going to go, "Objection, Your Honor. That's attorney-client privilege." And the judge would, of course, sustain that because he's exactly right. That would be attorney-client privilege. But let's say the defendant witness on the stand volunteers, "I called my client. I called my lawyer that night, and I told him there's blood and bullets everywhere. I don't know what the heck is going on." And the prosecuting attorney is going to want to cross-examine that statement, and the defending attorney might object and say, "Your Honor, I object to attorney-client privilege." The judge is going to overrule him because he's going to say, "You can't hide behind privilege on something your client put into issue. You don't get to have that ability." So Mari Manoogian, public official, publicly accuses Steve Marino, also a public official, doesn't say in any way what the allegations actually are. Steve Marino, of course, for his part, is denying all that stuff. And we have no evidence from anybody of anything else at this point. State police said, we just started this. We just got this complaint. It's in the very early stages, so we can't comment on it. But what did Mari Manoogian accuse Steve Marino of doing? Not only does Steve Marino deserve to know, his constituents deserve to know. He's just been stripped of his committee assignments. And this illustrates fundamentally how the Republican leadership operates. You'll recall just a few months ago, the Senate Oversight Committee issued a report in which they called for Attorney General Dana Nessel to investigate a lawyer for making what they said were profiteering from false claims about the election. They provided absolutely no evidence whatsoever to support that allegation. Nothing. None whatsoever. Oh, sure, the attorney has sued Antrim County and demanded evidence, and, you know, he's now running for Attorney General himself. And, you know, that's still unbelievably shameful that the Senate Republicans would do something so extreme. Turns out, by the way, the author of that report, Senator Ed McBroom, actually has a personal axe to grind with that very attorney, because he actually sued the state house when Ed McBroom was a state house member, and Ed McBroom himself, as well as the speaker and multiple house staff. He never disclosed that conflict of interest in that report. It was absolutely improper for the Senate Oversight Committee to sic the Attorney General on a citizen of Michigan with no evidence whatsoever. But yet, in the face of that absolutely verifiable, provable incident of wrongdoing, nobody apologizes, nobody retracts. Senator Lana Tice was on that committee. She signed that report. She has made excuses. She has not apologized. She has not retracted. She has given absolutely no contrition whatsoever for being involved in that affair, which is still ongoing, by the way. None. But that's how the Republicans operate. When they're going after a Republican, they are absolutely happy to sic the resources, the Democrat-controlled resources of the state against that person, and they will never admit fault to their base, which, you know, that Senate Oversight Committee report has been denounced and condemned by multiple Republican parties in the counties across the state. It was absolutely, totally improper on its face. Anybody with a brain who has understood what happened there is disgusted by it. But for them, they will never apologize. But for Mari Manoogian, who has given no evidence whatsoever to say, here's what Steve Marino said, here's what Steve Marino did, no, we will presume his guilt and her innocence. We will honor her respect for privacy as a public official. And by the way, this has gotten out of control already. A judge has actually issued a personal protection order against Steve Marino. How that will even play out in the legislature, who knows? It actually says here, it's not clear how the order will affect Marino's ability to be present on the House floor during session, even as the legislature next week prepares to vote on the state budget. And Manoogian's lawyer even points out, it's funny because we didn't even ask for that, but the judge gave it anyway. Unbelievable. But notice from Wentworth, no presumption of innocence for the Republican. And again, Steve Marino's a scumbag. In fact, I'll even show you guys some of these videos. These came out when Steve was first running for office. He's a former lobbyist. He was a lobbyist that became a politician. The Democrats caught him on secret tape saying all kinds of things you should never say. I mean, Marino is not streetwise and clearly did not learn his lesson, because after all this came out, he managed to get elected and then went on to bang a Democrat lawmaker and is now reaping the bitter fruit of that decision. But anyway, some of these are just partisan hackery, but some of these are pretty amazing. Here we got, I'm just going to play it. So Kevin Cotter at the time is the Speaker of the House of Representatives. And Cotter was better than most speakers. Actually, his successor, Tom Leonard, was even better about letting the caucus be independent. But Marino is about to trash Kevin Cotter, Speaker of the House, claiming he's not enough of an authoritarian.
Job in Lansing because he's not. forceful guy.
This is the Republican leader guy.
The Republican speaker.
Yeah, what's his name? Dave Cotter?
Kevin Cotter.
Okay.
Cotter's, I mean, a nice guy. A guy you'd want your daughter to bring home. Nice guy, he's an attorney, sharp guy. But if you sat in a room with him and you said, if you don't do this, I'm going to do that, he's not going to come back at you and say, I'm the speaker. You might want to he's not the why do you feel that way? Whereas if you're speaker, you don't have to entertain that type of nonsense. You're the speaker, and he just doesn't have any real backbone.
Yeah. Is this someone that should ever be given a position of power? No. And when Tom Leonard became speaker, that was the same term Steve Marino first came to Lansing as a lawmaker. Leonard didn't give him any committee chairmanship, but Chatfield and Wentworth didn't know better, and they made him the chair of the House Commerce Committee. And yeah, here's another funny one. This is Steve Marino trashing the House Appropriations Chair, the most important committee in the House, calling him a drunk. He's got this amazing story. I've only met Al Pasholka once. He did not seem like a drunk to me, but here's the recorded story from Steve Marino.
So, this a lot of legislators are raising drugs up and up in Lansing. Are they really? Oh, it's bad. I mean, keep this between us. I was in Lansing about a month and a half ago when the current chair of appropriations was up there. He's like, Stevie, how can I get home? Al, you need to go. Stevie? Oh, yeah. You don't go by Stevie, do you? Gosh, no, not at all. Al, it's time to get you home. Well, my part's I got it, don't worry about it. Call a cab. Where's he live? Relationship lives at on the phone with the speaker hotel. Al's home right now. So we were over there. That's a day in life. I mean,
Yeah. Anyway, there's more videos on this. This used to be a Democrat website. This is all Democrat opposition research, and take that for what it is. But that's original audio recording. There's all kinds of crazy stuff Steve Marino said when he was a lobbyist. In fact, here's the ad they made from it. Let's watch that.
Lobbyist Steve Marino spent his days buying influence. Marino boasted that he bought access to meet with the governor.
I represent IBM in Delta, so I've got pretty good access to Snyder.
Marino bragged he picked up the bill for a drunk legislator.
Well, my part's I got it, don't worry about it.
And Marino supports bad trade deals like TPP that help wealthy corporations but kill Michigan jobs.
That's a day in life.
For Steve Marino, that's just business as usual. But for Michigan families, Marino's part of the problem.
Yeah, by the way, Steve Marino is term limited, so he's not going to be able to seek re-election. I don't know if he's going to be able to go back to his job as a lobbyist after all of this. But all the same, that does not make Manoogian's accusations true. But it's the Republican way. Always believe Democrats. Always kick conservatives. That's their MO. They'll never apologize for that travesty of a report that came out from the Senate Oversight Committee where they actually called for a Democrat Attorney General to investigate a Republican activist for meritless claims that they had no evidence for and a very, very obvious conflict of interest from the Senate Oversight Committee chair. No, they will always be protected. They will never apologize for attacking the grassroots. But when a Democrat makes an allegation and presents no evidence whatsoever, the first thing they'll do is attack the Republican. So, yeah, that's apparently the way it goes. So, I think it's informative. I think it's illustrative. Hope you guys found this entertaining. If you like this kind of content, be sure you subscribe to the channel. Feel free to leave a comment below if you have any thoughts about Steve Marino or Mari Manoogian. I think he's one of the most rancid members in the House. But then again, there are plenty of others too. And as always, thanks again for all you guys do for liberty. Till next time, peace.